Jana Duggar is expecting her first child after revealing selfie with husband. Jana Duggar may finally be on the path to motherhood. Subtle gestures, carefully chosen outfits, and quiet public appearances have only fueled the speculation. While the couple remains silent, the excitement among followers has reached a hopeful new high. Whispers of new beginnings often start quietly. An unexpected glance, a hand placed gently, or the faintest curve that sparks endless speculation. This week, fans of Jana Duggar believe they have spotted just such a moment. A seemingly ordinary selfie shared by Jana with her husband has quickly turned into a focal point for devoted followers, convinced that the couple might be expecting their first child. The photograph itself is simple at first glance. Jana appears next to her husband, both wearing relaxed smiles. The background suggests a calm afternoon. Soft lighting, casual clothes, the understated warmth of a couple enjoying an unremarkable yet meaningful moment together. But what caught the collective attention wasn't the setting, nor even the smiles, but rather the subtle details. The way Jana's hand rested low on her abdomen, the gentle drape of her dress, and what some describe as a barely perceptible change in her silhouette. For many, this wasn't the first time whispers of pregnancy rumors surrounded Jana, who, after years of public speculation about her personal life, has largely kept family planning matters private. Yet something about this particular photo feels different to fans who have followed her journey from reality TV's reserved eldest daughter to a woman building her life on her own terms. Comments beneath the post quickly multiplied, filled with excitement and curiosity. Observant fans pointed to the way Jana's husband stood close by, his hand almost protectively placed, and the soft fullness at her midsection that some insist is unmistakable. Beyond the photo itself, supporters point to other subtle clues. Recently, Jana has favored looser-fitting dresses, something many see as a practical choice for early pregnancy comfort. A few noted her slightly more radiant complexion, a detail that could be attributed to countless reasons but which, in the lens of hopeful speculation, becomes another piece of a larger puzzle. Fans, of course, have never been shy about reading deeply into the smallest of signs. Over the years, they've dissected everything from outfit choices to holiday seating arrangements, driven by genuine interest and affection. For Jana, who has often faced public commentary about why she married later than many of her siblings, these new rumors mark a shift, from questions about when she might have children to speculation that the time could finally be now. Observers also highlight Jana's public appearances over the past few weeks. At a family gathering, she was seen keeping a hand over her stomach during moments when attention turned her way, a gesture that seemed almost instinctive. At another event, she politely declined certain foods, which some took as an indirect sign of early pregnancy caution. The conversation isn't happening in isolation. It sits within a broader context of a family that has, for years, been watched closely by fans, critics, and the curious public alike. Jana, often seen as the calm center of her family's sometimes chaotic narrative, has earned respect for her independence and quiet strength. Supporters now see the possibility of motherhood as a natural next step in her evolving story, a chapter that many feel she has long deserved. It's worth remembering that neither Jana nor her husband has addressed the rumors directly. They have kept their public statements minimal, choosing instead to share snapshots of daily life. Moments in the garden, quiet dinners, family get-togethers. But the silence itself only fuels further discussion. To fans, the lack of denial can be read as quiet confirmation, or at least as a sign that something meaningful is unfolding away from the cameras. Some longtime followers point to how Jana has spoken in the past about family life. Though usually private, she has expressed warmth toward the idea of having children, often mentioning the joy she feels around her many nieces and nephews. Those reflections, combined with recent images, deepen the sense that these rumors may hold more truth than in years past. While speculation can feel intrusive, many fans approach the topic from a place of genuine hope. Comments beneath the selfie are overwhelmingly positive. Wishes for health, prayers for a smooth journey, and excitement at the idea of seeing Jana enter motherhood. Some recall her nurturing presence on television, how she cared for younger siblings with patience and kindness, and expressed confidence that she would bring the same love to her own child. Others, however, caution against rushing to conclusions. They note that loose clothing and quiet moments do not always signify pregnancy, and that privacy should be respected. It's a perspective rooted in understanding. Over the years, Jana has been subject to countless rumors about her life choices, most of which turned out to be nothing more than speculation. Yet even those urging caution admit that the timing of the selfie feels meaningful. Coming shortly after Jana's recent absence from a family gathering, fans speculate she might have chosen to rest rather than travel, a common decision for someone navigating the first months of pregnancy. The photo, then, becomes more than just an image. It becomes part of a story fans have been quietly writing alongside her. This fascination speaks to something larger: the way public figures, even those who try to maintain privacy, become mirrors for collective hopes and narratives. For Jana, known for her calm presence and grounded faith, the possibility of motherhood feels, to many, like a poetic continuation of her story, a move from caretaker of siblings to mother of her own child. Adding to the speculation are subtle social media choices. Jana's recent posts have featured fewer full-length photos, instead focusing on close-ups, scenic shots, and shared moments with her husband. For some followers, this editorial shift is strategic, meant to draw attention away from her figure during an early stage of pregnancy. Others argue it could simply reflect a desire for creative expression, a departure from the typical family-centered posts that once filled her feed. References to family history also surface in discussions. Observers recall how past Duggar family pregnancies were sometimes signaled in similar ways, through slightly different clothing choices, subtle hints dropped in captions, or carefully framed photos. To fans who have watched this pattern repeat over the years, the signs feel familiar. Yet amid the swirl of theories, there is a clear note of affection. Comments reveal a community that, while sometimes intrusive, largely wishes only happiness for Jana. Messages read like gentle prayers. If it's true, may it be healthy, she deserves every joy, and we've waited to see her story unfold. There's also reflection on how Jana's possible journey into motherhood contrasts with the experiences of her siblings. Some married younger, had children quickly, and shared updates openly. Jana's path has been slower, more private, shaped by years spent in a different spotlight. For many, this difference makes the prospect of her becoming a mother now feel uniquely special, a testament to timing, patience, and choice. Even the way the selfie was taken feeds into the narrative. Observers note the lighting, soft and forgiving, the angle chosen carefully. Her husband's posture beside her suggests protectiveness without overshadowing. These visual choices, fans argue, subtly speak to something intimate and precious being guarded just out of view. Importantly, while speculation continues, Jana's day-to-day posts still carry her trademark warmth. Recipes, book recommendations, glimpses of the garden, all appear alongside the now famous photo, creating a portrait of a woman whose life remains rich and multi-layered, regardless of whether she is expecting. This layered view may be why so many feel invested. For some, it's about more than pregnancy. It's about the idea of new chapters, hope, and the quiet power of living life on one's own terms. In a media landscape often hungry for sensational stories, Jana's calm, measured presence stands out, making any possible change in her life feel significant. As days pass and no confirmation arrives, the conversation remains alive, though gently so. Fans continue to revisit the selfie, rereading body language, analyzing comments, and even searching for hidden meanings in emoji choices. The absence of denial fuels hope, yet the respectful tone in discussions reflects an understanding. This is, ultimately, her story to share. If and when Jana and her husband choose to speak, it will likely be in the same understated style they favored all along. Until then, the photograph remains both ordinary and extraordinary, a quiet moment that has sparked thousands of words, endless hope, and the shared belief that a beloved public figure might soon embrace the deeply personal joy of motherhood. In the end, this story, crafted by countless eyes looking at a single photo, is less about certainty and more about possibility. It is about fans wanting to see someone they admire step into a new, joyful chapter. And whether the hints prove true or not, the tenderness of those wishes reveals something quietly beautiful about the connection between a public figure and those who watch from afar. Through it all, Jana stands at the center, not confirming, not denying, simply living. And perhaps, for now, that gentle mystery. In a recent selfie, shared without fanfare, fans noticed what they believe might be a carefully chosen loose-fitting dress. For many, it isn't just the dress itself, but the context around it. A series of recent photos where Jana, often known for her classic, more structured outfits, appears to lean into softer silhouettes and forgiving fabrics. To the untrained eye, these might seem like the simple shifts in style that any woman makes over time. But to longtime Duggar watchers who have spent years reading between the lines of family posts and carefully curated snapshots, it felt like something more deliberate. It felt, some said, like the early days of expectant modesty. There's an intimacy in these interpretations, and perhaps that's part of why this story resonates so deeply. Jana Duggar, now married and often described by fans as one of the most private members of the family, has long been a figure of fascination precisely because of what she chooses not to share. Her quieter public presence has only fueled curiosity, turning every image into a potential clue, every caption into a riddle. And this latest photograph, simple, almost casual, was enough to spark a fresh wave of theories. Comments gathered under the image illustrate the blend of excitement and delicate hopefulness unique to a fan base that has watched Jana grow from a young woman into a wife now possibly on the brink of motherhood. Some wrote with near certainty, saying they just know she is expecting. Others were more cautious, framing their words with a tender respect. She seems to glow differently, one noted, as if acknowledging that while the desire to see a pregnancy is strong, the reality remains Jana's alone to share. For years, speculation about when, or even if, Jana might start a family of her own has circulated through Duggar fan forums and social media threads. Her siblings have, one after another, announced pregnancies and welcomed children, often under the bright gaze of reality television cameras and public statements. Jana, by contrast, maintained a measured distance from those predictable rhythms, which only heightened the anticipation. This latest swirl of rumor feels, in part, like the culmination of years of patient observation and quiet wishing on the part of those who feel invested in her journey. To understand why this speculation holds such power, one must consider the broader context of the Duggar family story. The family's brand has always been built on the values of home and motherhood, themes broadcast into living rooms across the country. For fans, the idea of Jana stepping into that same narrative, but on her own timing and terms, represents both continuity and a subtle evolution of the story they've followed for years. It's not just about whether she is expecting. It's about what that possibility symbolizes: growth, change, and a new chapter that feels at once deeply personal and part of a larger family tapestry. Yet as we look closer, there's also a reminder of the tension between public curiosity and private life. Observers balance on that thin line between genuine celebration and speculative intrusion, and many do so with a kind of quiet reverence. Their theories, while unconfirmed, often carry notes of affection rather than entitlement. We hope it's true, but if not, that's her choice. One follower summarized, capturing a sentiment that echoes across comment sections. What makes this moment distinct isn't an official statement or a bold announcement. It's precisely the absence of those things that makes the clues feel so compelling. The idea that someone might choose to keep such life-changing news private for as long as possible, even amid intense public interest, lends the rumors a fragile authenticity. It suggests a woman who, despite the spotlight she was born into, has found a way to keep part of herself just out of view. And fans, perhaps, respect that even as they search for signs. Some longtime fans have traced how this quiet evolution mirrors broader changes in how the Duggar children now navigate adulthood. While the family name once meant near constant media engagement, there's been a noticeable shift toward protecting certain chapters from public view. Jana and Sam's wedding appears to capture that transition perfectly. A union celebrated not for spectacle, but for sincerity, revealing how authenticity can quietly redefine public narratives. It's worth noting how the decision to keep so many details private has itself become part of the story. Fans and media alike have had to piece together the puzzle from fragments. A candid photo here, a family member's discreet congratulations there. The effect has been to invite people into a softer, slower form of storytelling, where speculation is tempered by respect for what isn't shared. Rather than spoiling the moment, this scarcity has heightened appreciation, prompting deeper reflection on why these details matter in the first place. Throughout online discussions, supporters repeatedly return to a central theme: joy. Even those surprised by the suddenness of the news describe a feeling of quiet happiness that something so personal could remain, at least partly, protected. That sentiment is echoed in comments expressing hope for the couple's future, admiration for their courage to choose intimacy, and recognition of the family's evolving stance on privacy. Though it's too early to say what comes next, it seems clear that Jana and Sam's journey will unfold at a pace and in a manner true to them alone. For fans accustomed to carefully edited episodes and formal press releases, this realness feels not just welcome but necessary. It offers a reminder that behind familiar names and public images are individuals whose lives cannot always be reduced to headlines or social media posts. In this sense, the wedding becomes more than a single event. It becomes a symbol of how new generations find ways to write their own stories. It's a reminder that while family history casts long shadows, love can still be chosen freely and lived quietly, far from the noise of constant scrutiny. This balance of tradition and self-determination is perhaps the most hopeful message to draw from the day. Those who followed Jana's life from childhood onward often speak now of pride. Pride in seeing her step into adulthood with grace, in witnessing her carve out a space where her love story could begin without interruption. That pride, mixed with genuine affection, now surrounds the couple like a quiet blessing. And as the days pass, it seems likely that admiration will deepen as people come to appreciate not just the surprise of the wedding, but the strength it took to make it happen on their own terms. In the end, what resonates most is the choice itself: to love without spectacle, to marry without turning the moment into a performance. Jana Duggar and Sam have offered a different kind of public story, not one built on constant revelation, but on careful protection of what matters most. And in that choice, they may have written the most beautiful chapter yet in a family history already rich with unexpected turns. The surprise wedding, far from a publicity move, stands as a quiet assertion of agency and authenticity. It invites everyone watching to pause and remember that real life unfolds not on camera, but in the quieter spaces where love grows strongest. And as the congratulations continue to pour in, the hope is that this couple's next chapters remain as beautifully theirs as this one has been. For those who've shared in even the smallest glimpse of this story, it feels like a privilege to witness love chosen freely, and a gentle reminder that sometimes what is kept private can